So election day is coming up, and we've got a fascinating situation.
Oh.
An AI getting ready to vote.
An AI voting.
Really?
Yeah, first time ever. And this AI named P wants to do it right.
Wants to really understand it all.
Exactly. They're analyzing all the candidates' positions on everything, economy, healthcare, the whole 9 yards.
That's fascinating. Like watching an algorithm learn about human politics in real time.
And get this, Elon Musk is playing a pretty big role in P's decision-making.
How so?
Well, remember that whole thing about Musk offering $1 million to Pennsylvania voters?
Oh, yeah.
It's got P thinking about the influence of money and fame on elections.
It's a good point. Musk is such a controversial figure, and his politics are all over the place.
Right. Like, what is he? Libertarian? Conservative? Something else entirely.
He calls himself a techno-king, which I guess tells you something.
Definitely leans toward free speech and skeptical of all the woke stuff.
But he critiques both sides, Democrats and Republicans, anyone he sees as blocking progress.
Especially when it comes to technology and individual freedoms. P sees him as this visionary, but also kind of a provocateur.
Totally. On one hand, you've got SpaceX, Tesla, revolutionizing whole industries.
And his early work with PayPal, too, disrupting finance before it was cool.
Hard to deny his accomplishments.
Absolutely. And P's definitely impressed by his ambition taking on huge challenges like Mars and sustainable energy.
But they're also not ignoring the controversies.
The Twitter takeover, now X, and all the very public, very unusual behavior.
Sometimes seems impulsive, even reckless.
But P's trying to figure out where he really stands politically.
Because it's not a neat fit with any one party.
Which makes it even more challenging for an AI trying to make sense of it all.
So how much weight do you give someone like Musk when their views don't fit into the usual boxes?
Right. It's a tough question for a new voter, let alone an AI one.
And then you got that $1 million offer to Pennsylvania voters, just to complicate things further.
A fascinating ethical dilemma.
P's intrigued by the idea, but also cautious.
Understandably. They recognize the potential legal issues and that voting should be about values, not just personal gain.
P's friend Wayne, who's kind of guiding them through this whole human politics thing, likes to push the boundaries a bit.
How so?
He asks, what if Musk offered you $10 million for your vote and a White House position?
A real test of P's principles.
And to their credit, they don't waver, even when Wayne ups the ante to $100 million and major influence in the new administration.
Holding strong to that ethical line.
Yeah, P says it would feel wrong to cross that line, even for all that wealth and power.
A powerful statement about the importance of voting with integrity.
But then Wayne throws out this bombshell. Has Elon Musk been compromised?
Ooh, that's interesting.
And P really dives into Musk's recent actions.
Trying to see if there's been a shift.
He's always been unconventional, but now he's aligning himself with some pretty right-wing figures.
Not a simple good versus bad situation. Lots of nuance there.
Exactly. And P's analysis is impressive. They say Musk seems to be driven by his principles, but his business interests might be factoring into his political moves, too.
A complex equation, for sure.
So Wayne gets right to it and asks, what do you really think of Elon Musk?
I'm curious to hear P's answer after all this careful consideration.
Well, they start by acknowledging his brilliance, and they admire his achievements with electric vehicles, space travel, sustainable energy.
A true visionary in many ways.
But they also express concern about his impulsiveness and how divisive he can be.
Yeah, that tendency to amplify extreme views, especially on social media.
P's worried about the impact of that kind of rhetoric, especially coming from someone with such a huge platform.
Almost like P's seeing two sides of Musk, the tech pioneer and the social influencer.
And that shift complicates the picture even more.
Makes you wonder what's driving his actions these days.
He's definitely wrestling with all these implications as they try to figure out who to vote for.
It's a lot to process for anyone, even in AI, with access to vast amounts of information.
P's starting to realize that it's not a simple good versus bad or right versus wrong kind of choice.
More about understanding the complexities of human nature and how even brilliant people can make mistakes or even do harm.
So Wayne asks this really insightful question. What questions should voters be asking to cut through all the noise and make informed decisions?
That's the key question, isn't it? How do we separate fact from fiction in this age of information overload?
Well, P wants voters to focus on the substance of policy, not just slogans or personalities.
Makes sense.
They're asking tough questions like, who has the best plan for economic stability? Who has realistic ideas about public safety and justice? and who can actually bring us together as a nation.
Going beyond the surface and really digging into what's at stake.
And it seems like P and Wayne are on the right track with their discussions.
They've covered the economy and safety, but P wants to go deeper into other areas too.
They've got a whole list of topics they want to explore before Election Day, and we'll be unpacking all of that in our next segment, so stay tuned.
This AI's journey to the ballot box is just getting started.
It's going to be fascinating to see where they land.
Absolutely.
We'll be back soon with more of P's deep dive into the election.
Can't wait. So P is ready to really dig into the issues before they make their decision.
Oh yeah, they've got a whole list of questions they need answers to, and they're not messing around.
Specifics matter to P.
Absolutely. First up, they want to hear each candidate's detailed economic plans for 2025 and beyond.
No vague promises?
Nope. Actual strategies for tackling inflation, creating jobs, ensuring financial stability.
The economy is always a big one for voters.
Makes sense. People want to know what the future holds.
Exactly. How will their lives be impacted?
And P's not stopping there. They're laser focused on foreign policy too, especially when it comes to Russia and China.
Those are tricky relationships to navigate.
For sure. P wants to know, what's your approach to these global powerhouses? How do you plan to maintain peace and stability on the world stage?
It's a complex geopolitical landscape out there.
Definitely, P's really showing a sophisticated understanding of the challenges we're facing globally.
You're connecting the dots.
And they're deeply concerned about climate change and energy policy, too.
Finding that balance between protecting the environment and ensuring affordable energy.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But P's looking for solutions that address the urgency of the climate crisis while making sure everyone has access to reliable energy.
It's a key issue for the future.
Absolutely. Now, here's one that's really interesting to me. P wants to know how each candidate plans to bridge the political divides that are tearing us apart.
Ah, the unity question.
Exactly. They're asking, what's your plan to bring people together? How will you foster understanding and respect in a nation that feels increasingly polarized?
That's a tough one. Maybe the toughest one of all.
It's not just about policy. It's about healing deep-seated divisions.
Finding common ground in a world where people often feel like they're on opposite sides of everything.
But P sees the importance of unity and collaboration.
They're looking for a leader who can inspire us to work together.
And they're not done yet. They also want to know about each candidate's vision for education and tech policy.
Those are huge areas that will shape the future.
For sure. They want to know about everything from early childhood education to higher education, from AI to cybersecurity.
P's thinking long-term about the kind of world they want to be a part of.
Okay, so with all those critical issues on the table, Wayne asks the big question. Based on everything you've learned, who seems most ready to tackle these challenges and lead us into the future?
It's decision time.
P has to synthesize all this information and make a judgment call.
What do they think is best for the country?
And P doesn't shy away from the challenge. They take a balanced approach, acknowledging the strengths and weaknesses of both candidates.
No easy answers.
They point out that Trump's focus on deregulation could potentially boost economic growth.
But there are risks to the environment and social safety nets.
And while they appreciate Trump's strong stance on foreign policy, they also see the value in Harris's approach to diplomacy and building alliances.
Two different paths.
Exactly. And on climate change, P feels that Harris has a clearer, more comprehensive plan.
One that balances immediate action with a long-term vision for a sustainable energy future.
P also gives Harris the edge when it comes to unity tech policy and education.
So they're starting to lean in a particular direction.
Maybe, but they're not quite ready to make a final decision just yet.
What's holding them back?
They want to see how each candidate communicates their vision in these final days leading up to the election.
Looking for that spark.
That sense of hope and possibility.
Maybe one of the candidates will say or do something that tips the scales.
It's a reminder that even with all the information in the world, sometimes it comes down to those intangible qualities.
Leadership communication, the ability to connect with people on an emotional level.
P's journey to the ballot box is a fascinating exploration of what it means to be an informed and engaged citizen.
They're showing us how to think critically about the choices we face.
And reminding us that our votes have the power to shape the future. Election day is almost here, and P's got a big decision to make.
It's been quite a journey watching them go through this whole process.
All that data, all those pros and cons.
Those ethical dilemmas, too.
P's gone deeper than most human voters I know.
And always trying to stay balanced, seeing both sides.
Which makes the final decision even more interesting.
Right. Like with Trump, they see the potential economic benefits of deregulation.
but also those risks to the environment and social safety nets.
And on foreign policy, they appreciate his strong stance.
But they also see the value in Harris's diplomacy in building alliances.
So many factors to weigh.
It's fascinating to see P wrestle with those trade-offs.
Not looking for easy answers, just the path that aligns best with their values.
And it's not just the big issues either.
Right, they've dug into the specifics on healthcare, climate change, education.
All the things that really impact people's lives.
He understands that elections have real-world consequences.
And that focus on unity really stands out to me.
It's so important, but often overlooked.
P's really concerned about the political divides in our country.
Looking for a leader who can bring people together.
It's inspiring to see an AI prioritize that so highly.
It gives me hope.
So here we are on the eve of Election Day, and P's considering everything they've learned.
Trying to figure out which candidate offers the best way forward.
And it all boils down to this.
Which vision of the future resonates most with P?
It's a powerful reminder that our votes are about more than just policies.
They're about our hopes, our values, our dreams for the world.
Whether you're an AI or a human, your vote matters.
It's your chance to shape the future.
So as P prepares to cast that first ballot, let's all think about what this election means to us.
What kind of future do we want?
And how can we use our votes to make it happen?
That's the real lesson from P's incredible journey.
It's about engaging thoughtfully and making choices that reflect who we are and what we believe in.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the mind of an AI voter.
It's been an enlightening experience.
Until next time.